The following is a special presentation, Brave Conquers Fear.
I remember hitting the ground like maybe 3-4 times. Bah!
We all face challenges in our lives.
People said I could not do it.
They may come in different ways, but they can connect us all. When we see others face an obstacle with strength and grace,
Nothing could stop her.
it inspires us. It gives us a new perspective.
Did you ever consider yourself an artist before?
Not really.
Determination, compassion, joy, they are all contagious. Catch the vision through these profiles in courage, the stories of Brave Conquers Fear.
I'm Cheryl Preheim. We start with Amazing Grace. Grace BUNKE, 14 years old with the courage to share her fight with cancer and the heart to fight for others in the process. She's inspired a lot of people to embrace life, never give up, and to make a difference.
It's long before dawn, and Vicki, Bunke, and friends meet up for something they never thought they'd do, in a place that represents a beginning born from an end.
This pool is where Grace swam and trained.
This was Grace's place. Vicki's daughter swam here after cancer and a surgery made her find a new sport to love. She traded in track for the pool. Vicki knew that in the water, Grace found a momentary escape from sickness and worry. It's something she's now coming to understand for herself.
The very first time I ever swam a lap was when we went to practice. The very first time Grace ever swam a lap was at that pool as well. I'm grateful to feel like I got a little glimpse of what that must have been like for Grace.
Just like Grace, her mom faced some fears and doubts to do it.
And being a little bit claustrophobic myself, I was really dreading, to be quite honest, going to swim practice.
Karen Wazlewski didn't consider herself a swimmer either. Dr. Wazlewski swims for Grace too, the girl she cared for from the diagnosis to the end. Together they trained to race in Grace's honor, every stroke a continuation of a life inspired.
I promised Grace that I would swim.
Shortly before Grace passed away, friends gathered outside her hospital room with Grace's signature red umbrellas. Upstairs, Grace was thinking about others. She announced her final wish, to be the top fundraiser for the Swim Across America race for cancer research.
That she knew she was going to die soon. She became more intentional about this event.
That event last September was a day Grace called absolutely perfect.
Grace, you are my hero.
A day she chose to fully live the time she had left.
She had decided to stop treatment at that point.
Swimming made Grace feel everything cancer is not. Alive, free, strong.
She just kept on going.
Her younger sister Caroline
Nothing could stop her.
watched Grace defy medicine that day, swim a mile with cancer in her lungs and spine, not even out of breath as she rose out of Lake Lanier. It's why Caroline knew she had to swim for her sister this year too, her best friend.
I know everybody misses Grace, but out of everybody, I feel like Caroline, I guess, lost the most. I'm still a mom. Brian is still a dad. On this planet, she's no longer a sister.
I miss her and I wish she could be swimming with me, but I'm gonna swim for her.
For Grace, who proved that joy and hope are not cemented in your circumstances.
We really feel like we're able to honor someone that we just care so much about.
Grace's message to us all is the title of her fundraising page. Hope has no finish line.
Who doesn't want to have hope, even in the worst circumstances?
It is Grace's spirit, the hope she brings even now, they feel in this place they didn't expect to be.
It's nice we can kind of continue, to honor Grace's life and maybe try to live our lives a little bit like she did.
Grace would say, if you have hope, you can find the good in times that feel so bad. Race day came 5 months and 1 day after Grace passed away. Still, her mom, Vicki, felt joy. She felt grace.
Good morning, Swim Across Atlanta.
I don't know, it was just this mix of excitement. I felt like I was on the verge of crying.
So of course we're nervous, kind of apprehensive getting in the water. And we were going out to the turnabout, which is the second green buoy. I noticed something else, I just got chills, something else along the way, and it was a motorboat, and hanging from its canopy was a red umbrella with the words Amazing Grace written in white. And I said to Dr. Wazlewski, Grace is here.
obviously just felt Grace watching us, and she was there. Like when we finally got, finished and we're getting out of the water, I was just kind of completely overwhelmed with just joy and feeling Grace there, and really feeling, I think, how proud she was of everything that was kind of going on there. I remember her smile and her bright blue eyes, and she wanted to live, and she did just that. Yeah.
Some people are destined to meet. This is the story of a man who needed the best personal trainer and motivator at the darkest time of his life. He'd suffered a catastrophic injury. He didn't expect the right person to be an intern. They're now enjoying a beautiful bond and amazing results.
Sometimes lives intersect in ways we could never plan. And sometimes the connection proves to be the very catalyst for something extraordinary.
You got 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
Meet Willie and Jeff.
Bye.
Let's go.
My arm's the weakest thing on my body.
Strength has felt painfully elusive for Willie Burnham.
I feel it now.
6, good job.
Jeff DeFulgo, a personal trainer, is helping him see he can have it back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, Miss Mary.
Willie's been confined to a wheelchair since a car hit him head-on 6 years ago.
I remember when getting hit. I remember flying in the air. I remember hitting the ground like maybe 3-4 times. And every time I hit the ground, I felt like I lost feeling somewhere.
Willie was paralyzed from the neck down. Doctors told him he would never move his arms or legs again.
It's the last one, and then we'll go down.
He waited out life in a nursing home.
I just kept sitting there just staring like and praying every day like, if it happens, God's going to take care of me.
After a breakthrough, gaining feeling in his toes, Jeff came into his life.
Jeff.
That's like my little brother. Well, which he thinks he's my big brother.
And I was there to intern, and I was there to learn, so I was there to work as well.
You can bring it all the way to you, Jeff.
Over 3 years, 3-hour workouts 4 days a week, and a bond formed far beyond the gym.
I ain't been there in 5 years.
Together they faced a fear. Willie's first car ride since the crash.
Everything we do is just a part of me now.
Together they keep chasing that strength. Moving toes went to moving legs.
After we do this one, I'm walking.
Just this January, the 38-year-old proved doctors
Have to
wrong.
start putting you in a lower chair soon.
He gained enough strength to stand.
Hard.
Strength doesn't feel so elusive anymore.
Keep those elbows back.
Willie sees it can be his again, for him and his daughter.
She's got to walk the aisle one day. She's got to walk to graduate. I got to be there.
Put his hands around.
And for now, being there is just what these two have promised to do for each other.
Work, work. No walk or nothing. Work. I'll walk out of here. It's just a matter of time.
He was in a coma for 8 days.
A boy, his courage, and his cape make an impression on nurses and then help other children all over the city.
It's about spreading kindness.
When Brave Conquers Fear continues.
Everyone can be someone's superhero by sharing an act of kindness. DJ Pitts is 8 years old. His strength during a long and grueling recovery and his great attitude since started a wave of giving that he never expected. It's helped thousands of other children like him.
Capes signify strength. DJ started wearing one when he was very weak, so sick his family wondered if he'd make it.
He was in a coma for 8 days.
When I was 3 years old, I drank some chemical.
It had burnt him from the tip of his lips down into 2 inches into his small intestine. So it completely destroyed his insides.
During his many months at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, a nurse made him a cape out of a pillowcase. It encouraged his spirit to be strong, even when his body wasn't.
It was very fun.
5 years later, he still wears a cape and is back to say thank you.
Hey.
He's learned there's also strength in spreading kindness, helping others.
That is so sweet of you.
And being grateful.
Hey.
A thank you to someone who helped save his life. Miss Colleen, a nurse.
You remember me, baby?
Yes.
Who became family over the months she cared for him.
6 to 7 months, a long time.
They haven't seen each other in years.
Thank you for taking care of me, and you're a nice person. I can't believe you remembered me after 5 years.
A pillowcase and the strength of a little boy who wore it inspired the community campaign that has helped thousands of children like DJ in the years since.
It's about spreading kindness.
DJ's Cape Day has helped raise millions of dollars and made a lot of kids very happy in the process. It takes patience to wait for a gift. Robb Leatherwood has tremendous patience to give, and this gift requires sacrifice and a little courage, too. Welcome to a place where a slower pace is still appreciated.
Are you ready to go inside? Can you say hi, Mr. Sam?
Where neighbors really know each other.
Hey, Sam.
And a lot of life still happens at the local barbershop.
The Edward Scissorhands of beards.
Robb Leatherwood has come for a transformation.
The day has come. Last year, I shaved my beard, and my daughter's reaction was that she did not like my face.
We'll see how Emmy and her brothers Cooper and Beckett feel this time. The beard is just a sidebar to a story that has grown and grown over more than 5 years.
There's hair everywhere.
That hair.
It's in the shower drain and in my vacuum, and it gets caught in our toes, and when you pull it out of your food, it's like forever long.
Cousin It, look.
That hair is the center of a lot of experiences.
There's a local church. They reached out to me, can you play Jesus for Vacation Bible School?
The computer programmer by education has played Jesus for years.
A lot of the kids that grew up through that, when I would see them, whether it be Lowe's or Chick-fil-A, it's always like, hey, Jesus.
That hair has become a signature, identity, and a bigger purpose.
The purpose of growing it is to be a blessing to somebody else.
They did not teach us this in barber school.
Years of preparing this gift to make wigs for children.
His hair is so beautiful. It can be used to help heal that little person that's going through so much. 20
inches of hair in each braid, enough to make a child feel more like themselves once again.
Ready?
I feel lighter already.
No backing out now.
Start getting ready just as fast as my wife does.
Someone has to have the short hair in the relationship.
A lot of life happened on this day.
The deed is done.
And lessons the Leatherwoods hope their children will always remember.
You can dream big to help others. Thanks for being here today. Making an impact bigger than yourself, to really put others first.
When we come back,
and they told us that he might not make it.
2 boys who may not seem to have much in common, but they share Brave Conquers Fear. It is what inspired their connection across the country. Surprise! And a surprise meeting that would change them both forever.
Brave Conquers Fear was the idea of a 6-year-old boy, my son Joshua. He made up the saying, then sketched it out on a design with a Sharpie at the kitchen table months before he ever knew he'd need it. He couldn't have imagined so many other people would need it too.
The good years. Too often we are too young to acknowledge them, too busy, too happy.
Joshua came running in out of playing outside and said, "Mom, there's a cramp in my heart. I have a cramp in my heart." I said, "No 6-year-old says that."
In a heartbeat, literally, everything can change.
There is an issue, and he's got congenital heart disease.
Joshua was sitting on my lap at that moment. I remember a tear went down my cheek and hit the floor, and I thought, "No, Mom, you've got to be strong."
Cheryl had to demonstrate exactly what her little boy believed, a message he drew on a piece of paper months before the diagnosis.
Sometimes people say love conquers hate, but I made up a different one. Brave conquers fear.
Brave conquers fear. How could he have known? His sister, his brother, they needed to know.
I was like, what's gonna happen to him? Like, is it gonna be fine? Because I was like scared of losing him, you know. And I remember Duke scared, and he had to like trust God.
Before open heart surgery, Cheryl and Mark turned that drawing into a t-shirt for Joshua, his family, and nurses.
Miracles were not happening, like miracles didn't happen. Joshua would not be here.
His heart is healed, and he has the proof.
It kind of stands for like that I went through it and like I was brave.
And he was ready to share his bravery again, this time with his baby brother Joseph, born just weeks later, also at Children's Hospital because he had some kidney problems.
And it's amazing to have, two kids in the span of 6 weeks, be in intensive care for different reasons. But to feel like there's such a reason for it because it's giving us a understanding about how precious life is.
Joshua had one wish, to share his t-shirt with other families and not make them pay for it. Cheryl and Mark knew they had to honor that wish.
It's a t-shirt.
It's a t-shirt?
That I made.
That you made?
Yeah, he designed it.
His message resonates in these rooms. Some of these children have had hearts repaired, others needed a new heart, like Mallory. Hopefully, they will all leave with a scar too.
It looks like an exclamation point because it's like, I had surgery!
Brave conquers fear, and love conquers all. What defines a good year really depends on your perspective, and for Cheryl was summed up in one precious Christmas gift.
And I open it up and it's this picture frame and it has 3 pictures, and one of us sitting with Joshua in ICU, one of Joshua, and then one the day we took Joseph home from the NICU. And at the bottom it just said, sometimes the hardest years turn out to be the best. And that is true.
It means a lot when someone understands what it's like to struggle. It's why Ryland Slaughter felt like he had a friend in Joshua before they ever met in person. Doctors did not know if Ryland would survive when he was born. He still spends a lot of time in the hospital. So Ryland asked for a Brave Conquers Fear t-shirt. Then he asked to come visit.
Here, there he is right there.
It's so easy to see what looks magical around us. It can be just as easy to miss what is magical inside us.
Very strong and brave. He amazes us.
Ryland tries not to listen to the kids who aren't nice to him. Some people miss the chance to look beyond differences, and then they miss out on seeing what Ryland can teach us all.
A blood bleed on the left side of his brain.
Before Ryland was born, he had a stroke. He was a preemie with a brain that was bleeding.
He weighed 2.5 pounds, and they told us that he might not make it, and if he does, he probably won't be able to walk or talk.
He kept proving them wrong day after day.
He does have he struggles and stuff, but he doesn't hold him back.
Name a sport, he's played it and played it well.
Underneath, you see his feet there?
Look at that.
He's expressive, excited.
Oh, they're so cuddly.
So cuddly?
And he's hard to keep up with around Georgia Aquarium, which he loved. But there was one thing he wanted to do even more.
Oh, he talks about him all the time.
The letters have come for months. The boy who doctors thought would never hold a pencil is writing about the stories that give him courage. Then Ryland and his mom traveled 1,400 miles to Atlanta from Thornton, Colorado, because of a connection Ryland feels with Brave Conquers Fear and the child who created it.
He kept asking, will he be there? Will he be there? I said, I'm not sure, maybe. And he goes, oh, I just want to meet him so bad.
Surprise! Ryland didn't know we let Joshua miss school to spend the day with him. It didn't take long to see beyond their differences.
Why do ducks have feathers?
I don't know.
To cover their butt crack.
They are both all boy. They share a love of root beer and a fascination with cameras. They didn't choose their challenges, but they choose to see the magic and strength inside each other.
You made up this name? It makes me brave.
It helped me too.
This new friendship,
I love that you're here and I love meeting you.
And Brave Conquers Fear are things they will always share.
Keep being brave like you are right now, and I'll keep writing you letters.
This is where we live, day in and day out.
Finding beauty where it seems there can be none.
It's my calling. It's my gift.
And facing a fear to comfort others when we come back.
Sometimes courage is finding a way to do what you love even when it seems impossible. Jennifer Parker says her husband Brian is the reason she looks at every day as an opportunity to create something beautiful.
As much as we'd like to choose the soundtrack of our lives, so much of what plays out is beyond our control.
We'll just put on records all day long.
A line of album covers, well loved over time, document Jennifer and Brian's lives together as much as the scrapbooks that share the same shelf.
And Brian riding his motorcycle.
Road trips.
We've taken several cross-country road trips.
Adventures.
And then we hiked up Angel's Landing, just a memory that we treasure.
And music. Music, always at the center of it all.
We've always had a passion for music.
After the wedding 22 years ago, they lived out so many of the lyrics they've loved together.
Okay.
Brian Parker was just 41 when the melody changed drastically.
This is our life in this little plot of land, in this little living room. This is where we live, day in and day out.
ALS has taken so much, including Brian's opportunity to be an audio engineer and musician.
It's so tedious for him. He made it all with circles.
It has not taken his love of art or his ability to create it. Brian uses the one part of his body he can still move to meticulously guide a virtual paintbrush.
Making several shapes to make one large shape. I mean, what would take us probably an hour could take him weeks.
Did you ever consider yourself an artist before?
Not really, only with music.
In this new artistic outlet, Brian finds some freedom.
Definitely the ability to create. I can't imagine what it would be like to have ALS without the current technology.
And there's one over here that's just spirals that you can kind of stare into and it feels like it's moving. My favorite is one he just finished, which is a hummingbird. But this bird just amazed me. I was like, wow. I just see it as life, honestly, as someone who's living with, you know, something so challenging and finding color. Filters, tubing, little adapters.
Bins of medical supplies necessary for another day now share the shelves holding treasures of days past.
It's just really important to stay positive, take one day at a time, maybe even take 1 hour at a time if that's what it takes. Just tell yourself to keep going and that you can find joy in every day no matter what situation you're dealing with.
In a life now fragile and uncertain, their constants are music.
It just helps lift the spirits. Music is magic.
Art.
He inspires me and he tells me, you know, to buck up and keep going.
And each other.
All right.
Moment by moment, making the most of a life soundtrack they cannot control.
I just choose to not let ALS defeat me.
I honestly just see color and life and vibrance coming from someone who could be in such a dark place.
Facing your fears can help someone else face theirs. Angela Davis pushes past her insecurities every week to bring a gift of comfort to children, and Angela says it fills her soul.
We have came a long way. It's 1 in a million.
Every child here needs some reassurance and comfort.
Have a little coffee.
Parents too.
Okay.
And here, it comes in all kinds of ways.
Okay, so happy to meet you.
The way Angela Davis brings that care is unique.
I'm gonna sing happy birthday to you on your very special day.
On a first birthday, Cass's family had never expected to spend in a hospital.
1 year old, whoop, whoop, that's big. That's big.
Angela shares her gift.
Happy birthday to you. Yay! I'm a singer. I admit that now. I used to be afraid to say that, like, I'm a singer, but I am. I feel like it's my calling. It's my gift. When I sing, I can make people feel better. pretty, honey. Pretty girl.
Angela comes faithfully every week.
We want you to sleep well and have angels watching over you.
And she finds that courage is a connector between the children who need strength to fight for health and a volunteer overcoming her own nerves and doubts to help them.
All my fears to the side, all my insecurities or whatever, you know, to the side. You know, you put the kids first. Go to sleep, little baby. Close your eyes. Go to sleep. Go to
Giving her time, sharing her gift to bring comfort.
I wouldn't trade it for the world. So close your eyes. Close your eyes and sleep.
These are just a few of the Brave Conquers Fear stories we've shared through the year. Each is an example of courage, spirit, and strength. If you have a story to share, I'd love to hear about it, because we all face times when we need Brave Conquers Fear. I'm Cheryl Preheim.